All right, guys, welcome to the Onelife Podcast. My guest today is Andrew. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
He has a green super protein bar, correct?
Yes.
Which is basically like a meal replacement is the best way to put it.
Yeah, so it's a high protein green superfood complete meal replacement bar. So you have 20 grams of protein.
I like that. I like the
34 grams
of
of carbs, 11 which is of fiber from oats and quinoa, and that has fats from almond butter. But the big thing about this is it's actually going to fill you up. Like everything on the market right now is either what I call a protein candy bar, where it's like, chocolate covered, birthday cake flavored, blah, 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 but it's over processed protein, a bunch of sugar, or just sugar alcohols, and a lot of like the no sugar ones.
All the hidden sugars, right?
Yeah. And they all leave you starving. And then the other option you have is like wholesome ingredients, like organic nuts and seeds, but I call these like wholesome snack bars. But the macros suck. They have like no protein. They don't have the right macros, and they also leave you starving. So this one, it's a big bar too. It's an 83 gram bar. Most bars out there are more or less like 50 grams in mass. This is actually meant to satisfy you in between like long periods without a meal. And it actually has nutrient density, macronutrients and micronutrients.
Nutrient density being the word. So 330 calories of dense, healthy food.
Yeah, you're actually getting stuff. You're actually getting real nutrients in these nutrition bars.
Yeah.
Because the nutrition bar aisle, I think, is seriously lacking actual nutrition. But
and you're a big guy. How much you weigh?
I'm only about 190. I have you can probably see skinny legs.
But you're quite lean. You're very lean. So you got enough. But I mean, if you're always looking for something which is healthy, which is on the go, which is filling.
Yeah.
And was it a personal thing? That's where it started. You're like, hey, I need something, and I'm going to create it for myself. And by doing so, you're helping other people.
It was a little bit of both, like business and personal. So I believe in whole foods meals. Those are what you should have. But obviously, people are busier than ever. Whether you're like busy work professional, busy with your family. So you don't always have time to have a whole foods meal that's clean and actually nutritious. And I'm looking at the bar aisle, and again, like I just mentioned, everything's just a protein candy bar or a little snack bar, and I wanted something the closest you can get to a whole foods meal in a bar form. So that's why, put the nutrient density in there, but we also made it a big bar because I have a decent appetite, and the protein candy bars out there, like the Quest bars and No Cow bars and all those bars, they leave me starving anyway. So I wanted something.
Well, you got to have 2 or 3, right?
Yeah.
And then you're getting up 500, 750 calories.
100%. And because the big thing is, what happens to a lot of people, I think, like, let's say they have their lunch break at work. Hours and hours go by, they get off and they're driving home and they're starving. Usually because your body wants to like basically store fat, you're starving. Your body wants you to make some mistakes, either go to fast food or even if you go to the grocery store. If you're starving, you're usually going to get something that you probably shouldn't eat. So this was meant to be that bridge in between like long periods without a meal that actually satisfy your hunger, so you're not freaking out.
Where that blood sugar drops.
Yeah.
You're looking around for food. You haven't got food ready when you get home, so you grab something.
100%.
You grab that junk food, which everybody's doing.
This is meant to prevent that, and it does taste really good. It's a big, ugly green bar, but this is apple cinnamon flavor. You'd be surprised. It tastes really good.
It's quite big. It's quite dense. It's actually like dense to fill.
Yeah, and you should definitely drink it with water because it is dense, especially with the almond butter. But yeah, it's gonna actually fill you up as best a bar can. Like I've had, like my heart doctor said, "Oh, I had one of your energy bars," he calls it. He's like, "I ate half of it. I was full."
Oh, really?
The girl that does my hair, Carrie, she still had half of it from like a previous day, and like it's really filling. I'm like, that's the point. Or somebody's like, "Oh, 330 calories, it's kind of high." I'm like, well, it's a meal replacement. Again, that's the point. It's not supposed to be a little protein snack bar.
I'm 220. I go to the gym, quite active. I love to have something on the go, which is healthy, especially when you're traveling. Because you go to the gas station and you're scanning things. You're like, oh, this looks okay. You read the ingredients, like this is awful. You put it back. You either end up getting nuts, which has got a bunch of it's very hard to find something for the go.
100%.
So I'm excited to try it.
And surprisingly, it's one of the few bars that actually has like greens in it. Most bars, they're lacking the greens. So I try to put a little bit of everything in that bar.
Gotcha. That's cool. What's your background? Obviously, you're a fit guy.
So, well, as far as like education, my major was business management and my minor was finance.
Okay.
My passion has always been like nutrition. Ever since I was like 18, working at GNC, just always studying nutrition. But for some reason, I didn't want to get in like personal training because that's super competitive. You got to get clients, and I thought it'd be tough. And then going to nutrition, I always wanted to like create something and like own a company, and whether it be a mass produce something or just create something. So I've always wanted to kind of do something in that field. So I didn't follow nutrition in college though.
How's the business management gone for you as far as having a business?
To be 100% honest, I graduated college in 2008. I don't think if anybody's like in school right now and they're doing business management or marketing or something, I don't know. I don't think I learned anything that like an applicable skill.
That's
like,
what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Did you learn anything that is helping you with a business?
At least not that I remember, because I mean that's back.
Or
in
are you learning more by starting and failing forwards?
You have to start it, because every industry is completely different. Every business is completely different. So there's not really like a how-to book on, you know, this business and this industry. 100%. You really do have to.
You're doing something.
Get out there. And
yeah.
Try to fail as least possible, but yeah, you kind of have to get out there, because I had no idea what brokers were. I had no idea what how the distribution worked, the stores, how to get in. I'm actually still kind of navigating that, but just a lot of things. I think these days we actually have the luxury of, you literally can just like pretty much Google anything, how to get this business lights going, business license,
say that again.
all this stuff.
So many people, I don't know how to do this, or I don't find. You can Google everything.
You don't have an excuse anymore.
Right now, if whatever it is, if you want to learn how to do a podcast, right now you can pick up your phone and figure out how to do a podcast. There's no excuse.
100%.
I mean, I'm 43. You're in your 30s, I'm guessing.
Getting close. I'll be 39 this year, but yeah.
Oh, so we're similar age, right?
40's like the new 25.
We didn't grow up with the opportunity to look up anything at any time. We would literally like ask your father, ask your parents, like go to the library, go through an index card, find a book if you could find it, which didn't exist.
Right.
It's never been easier to do anything. I preach that all the time on this podcast.
Well, that's actually, I mean, it's the great thing, but also as far as like getting into business, there's pros and cons to that, because, you know, back in the day, if there's like a big barrier to enter a certain industry, it's hard to get in there. But if you can get in there, you don't have a whole lot of competition. But in certain industries that anybody can get into now, like anybody can come up with their own protein powder, whatever. Anybody can get in, but now you got every competition. So pros and cons, a double-edged sword.
On the flip side, you can market that thing for free because of social media.
True.
Whereas you used to have to pay for ads. So there's pros and just expanding what you said. There's pros and cons of the whole thing right now.
There's always, you know, the game is always changing, like in business. So yeah, it's all about, you know, adapting and everything. But yeah, as far as just anything though, even not businesses. Oh, I need to learn how to do this.
Lose weight.
Yeah, need to learn
what is healthy for me.
No joke. I got asked like 2 people yesterday. Yeah, like, hey, what should I do to work out? I'm like, just go on YouTube. Like, it's there. Working out is the most simple thing in my mind. Like, you pick things up, you lift them down, you run on a treadmill, whatever.
And you do it consistently.
But there's guys like, there's this guy, Mike Thurston. He's this big influencer on YouTube. Yeah. All you got to do is go check that guy out. Plug in Mike Thurston. I don't even know that guy. But like, he has all the videos. Oh, what do you do for pec day? What do you do for cutting? Also, it's all on YouTube. All on the internet, like anything you want to do. Again, not even business related.
And I always talk about that.
It's all there.
The way I learned was walk up to the biggest guy in the gym when I was 18, which was like 1997. And I would just learn from people around me because there wasn't the internet. Yeah, there's a little bit more fluff now and you got to like weed out the bad people, but it's pretty easy to find the right information.
Especially at the gym, I think a lot of people like they really want to help. Tell them they're like flattered if you do ask them.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, so they're happy to help. Well, I remember back in like, I think it was like 05, 06, watching these, they're still on YouTube, but like these grainy old videos of like Jay Cutler, the bodybuilder, working out. And because you never see these people working out, you just see the photos in the magazines on the Olympia. But like to actually see like a video of them, what are they doing? They're like, I'm doing the same thing. They're absolutely doing other stuff. But like, yeah, YouTube, you see these workout videos and everything. So yeah, all you have to do is just open your phone and Google it or YouTube. Like the resources pretty much to do anything out there.
Anything.
I've actually I don't consider myself knowledgeable at all with cars, but I actually took apart my entire door and replaced the whole door locking mechanism. That took me all day. Don't recommend it. But because I was like, I'm just going to go on YouTube and see what's up. And it was on there. And
it's amazing,
I did. It's
right?
Like, it's pretty much anything you need to know.
I have a cold plunge that I do every day. Now it's too hot. I need to cool the thing down. I can't afford to buy ice every day. So I found a YouTube video which told me exactly what to buy a cooler, all the pieces. Last night they all come in. I watched a YouTube video, put the whole thing together. It was so easy.
Oh yeah. Sometimes it's not easy, but that's part of the fun because when you do accomplish it, it's like
step on how to. I've never put a friggin' chiller together. I have no idea how it works.
What did you make it out of?
I bought a chiller and connected some hoses and a pump and a filter, and now I have a filtration system with a chiller that can bring my cold plunge down to 39 degrees.
Okay.
It's
Because I know there's like some barrel product you can buy. It's like made of plastic.
Yeah,
or
it's
something.
that barrel, but
Okay.
now I can add that chiller to any form of water.
Okay.
So I can buy that $1,200 barrel you're talking about. I can add my chiller and make it 39 degrees
Okay.
and keep it at that with running water.
Nice.
And it's just going back to what you said, like just finding something and giving it a go.
100%.
When we talked on the phone, you mentioned the ingredients that you're using, and you're talking about how it's made in the US, but you're also talking about how a lot of stuff comes from China.
Yeah.
Can you expand on that?
Yeah, I'd love
I was
to actually-
very, very interested in that.
I like talking about this. So, the latest like health craze, and by latest I mean it's been many years. So plant-based like protein powders and the whole plant-based categories have been growing, skyrocketing for like the last 10 years. But what most people don't know is like the pea proteins, the brown rice proteins, hemp proteins, a lot of stuff you'll find in like the main brand, like vegan protein powders. It's actually all manufactured in China, about 90% of it, because they make this noodle, I think. I don't know what the name of the noodle is, but they make it from peas. So the byproduct was like this protein. So they're like, we can actually do some of this powder. But the issue was, and a lot of the major like vegan protein powder companies faced this years ago. I think they've made changes, hopefully, but most of us manufacture in China, and they've had a lot of pollution issues and contamination issues with heavy metals because
Plus, it's just being China in general, right?
Yeah. But like if you have like the pollution contamination in the air, it gets in the water and in the ground, and that's gonna be in the crop, you can't get it out. And so there's also a lot of like shady issues with some of those companies out there with falsifying documents to get like, oh, they're US organic. Like, first of all, they're not organic. And even if they're organic, well, guess what? Heavy metals can be in organic stuff because it's not like you use pesticides.
Gotcha.
So
you're talking about right at the base of the soil.
Yeah. So
that's interesting.
A lot of the big plant-based companies, they got in big trouble, especially back in like 2016, because they tested like the worst out of all the protein powders for heavy metal contamination.
Gotcha.
So there's a few companies. There's one major one that I know that I use for pea protein. They're, to my knowledge, still the only pea protein that's from seed to final product made in the U.S. And it's a lot smoother tasting than the stuff from China, but it's also...
I'm sure the Chinese stuff is significantly cheaper too, right?
Significantly, yeah. So
that's why there's 90% of the companies are probably using it.
There's a company, I'm not going to put them on blast, but Nestle just bought them. They sell these jugs. It's organic everything. They're selling these jugs for like $20 at Costco. I'm like, after the production costs, overhead, employees, everything, through a distributor, then to the to the final retailer, they might be making like $5 a jug or something. Like, they can't be using like legit ingredients. It's got to be the cheapest because so I think
it's too cheap to be
organic like Chinese pea proteins, like I think it's like $4 a kilo.
Okay.
Like straight from the source, and then from that American company, I think it's like 13 or so a kilo, which makes it very expensive.
If it's an American bar and the proteins come from China, does it need to be disclaimed anywhere?
No.
See, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah,
there's already so much to look for, and now, like you're seeing if it's good and it looks good, and then you don't even know where the protein's actually coming from.
I take that back. I think to say made in the USA on these, I think at least 90% of the ingredients do have to come from the US, I believe. Okay. I've never had that issue because I've always used the stuff from the States.
I've never actually looked at a bar and seen where it's made from.
Well, they're not going to tell you the ingredient.
There's so many things to look for already, but that's interesting. I'm going to start looking at that.
Well, they're never going to tell you the source. Now, I do on mine, and there's pros and cons to this. I'm proud of the actual ingredient that I use, so I actually disclose the ingredient company. Like, you can actually look them up and see their manufacturing facility. But at the same time, if they have supply issues, I'm kind of going to live or die by that name. So on my new packaging, I'm actually not going to list the actual company, but on that, it says Lentine. So that's actually the protein company that makes from the green water lentils, Aqua Farm in Florida.
Okay.
Most companies don't do that, mainly because, again, if it's a supply issue, they're kind of screwed because they have the label on there. But also, they don't typically just want to disclose their source, whether it be kind of business secrets or the fact that, they don't want to use, whatever from China district, so it looks kind of foreign and people aren't going to like it. So I have many reasons, but I always disclose it. Like when I was doing protein powder, I always disclose that pea protein company. The company's name's Purus. You can go to their website, you can see what they do. Beyond Meat uses Purus in theirs. And there's a lot of companies that are starting to adopt it, but it's about twice as expensive as stuff from China. So there's a big supplement company that's actually, they have an office out here. I'm not going to name the name, but they do have a plant-based protein powder. I know exactly where it comes from. Like their manufacturer is in Tennessee, but the actual vegan proteins they use are definitely 100% vagina.
Okay.
At least last time I was in contact with that manufacturing facility.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so I'd say like, I think probably about 90% of the source is still kind of over there.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. Yeah, that's, do you know much about FDA like regulations and?
So in regards to supplements, you know, you want to have your product made in an FDA registered facility, but that can mean anything. Because the Food and Drug Administration, they don't individually test and approve health supplements. Like, I didn't have to get that like tested and approved by the FDA.
Really?
It's made in an FDA registered facility, and I don't know all the things they have to go to have an FDA approved registered facility.
That's
like
kind of what's touching on. Because you hear FDA approved, but what does that actually mean? Does that mean anything?
In regards to nutritional
I don't mean
supplements,
specifically yours. I mean just in general. Does FDA approved actually mean anything?
Well, I don't think any like nutritional supplements will actually straight up say FDA approved. You'll see an FDA badge on there saying, "Hey, is made in an FDA registered facility." Like my protein jugs back when I did protein powders had that. But yeah, you don't actually have to submit a health supplement for testing. You just have to have the disclaimer basically saying, "Hey, it's not meant to cure any diseases," or the whole statement. But yeah, they're not actually. They don't have to. They don't actually have to test it and approve it.
Is that because it's too many? It's just too expensive to go through.
I think so. But there's other organizations like the Non-GMO Project. All the stuff you'll see at like Whole Foods and those stores where it has that little non-GMO badge. It says Project Non-GMO Verified. You have to submit all the documents. And my protein powders were verified, and this bar is about to be verified. But still, I feel like there's room for like, okay, you just could submit documents. You got to pay thousands of dollars. It takes 6 months, and then you get your badging and stamp it on there. They are so backed up and understaffed because, yeah, every single company that wants to be in like Whole Foods or any of the health food stores and be like natural, they want that badge. So you're talking about thousands of product SKUs, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of product SKUs. So yeah, it's kind of tough. Obviously, go ahead.
I was going to say, what's your thoughts on health stuff in general? Is most of it just fluff? Is most of it just marketing?
Oh, I just think that the term in general, health, it kind of depends on what people mean. Because some people will ask me, oh, hey, is this thing healthy? But they don't mean like nutrient dense. They just mean, is it going to give me fat?
That's it.
But like, I'll give you an example of, there's things that will get you shredded lean, like smoking cigars, not healthy, but there's no calories. You can stay shredded. Or if you eat a bunch of salmon with the healthy fatty acids, or even eat just a ton of fruit. Technically, fruit has sugar in there. That might not be good for the physique, but it's healthy. So I like to make that bridge between health and fitness. Because yeah, you can do things that make you super fit looking. They're not healthy. And then there's things that I think are super nutrient dense, what I would consider healthy, but you're not going to, get super fit off. So I try to like find that balance, things that go with the lifestyle, being healthy, but also trying to stay fit.
Interesting.
If that made sense.
You're very lean for your late 30s.
I think it's a dark shirt.
You can see your arms and stuff.
What
is it? You fast? You just make sure your diet's in check? What's your secret?
I do a mix of, I used to be one of those drastic people that like used to lift all the time and like bulk and dirty bulk throughout the year and then do these crazy crash cycles and shred down. And
which isn't fun as you get older, right?
I haven't done it in years. I'm like, screw it, it's not even worth it to me. I don't care. But I'm more balanced as far as I do lifting and cardio pretty much like every day. Well, every day I work out. So
like 7 days a week?
I mean, I work out like 5 days a week.
Okay.
Maybe sometimes 6, but I'll at minimum like try to run 2 miles and then go lift. Or like I'll go to the gym, I'll run 2 miles on the track and then I do my lift, whatever muscle group I want to do. Or some days at my home gym, my apartment gym, I'll say lift, let's say I lift arms. And then after that, I'll get on the treadmill and jog and walk back and forth for like 40 minutes. And then, get back, get my protein shake in and things like that. That's another thing that, if you want to maximize muscle, yeah, it's like, okay, get that protein shake in like the second you put the weight down in your workout. But like, I think if your body knows what it needs, if it doesn't get it in 10 minutes, it's not like, oh, we're done. We wanted it in 10 minutes. We're not going to produce muscle. Like
I used to be that guy.
Yeah, I was too.
Now I fast all day.
Yeah.
I don't eat before I go to the gym for 18 hours and I don't eat a couple hours after the gym. It doesn't make any difference. Makes zero difference.
If your body wants it, like they'll eventually get it if you give it to them.
I'll eat when my body tells I'm ready to eat. I haven't eaten today and last meal was 8 o'clock last night.
Yeah, I basically just eat when I'm hungry.
4:00. It's eat when you're hungry.
You know,
Listen
it's
to your body.
Okay. I was just going to say, I think different things work for different people because, like, you talking about fasting and, like, skipping meals. I'm like, I can't do that. I just always eat throughout the day. I even eat, like, right before I go to bed if I'm hungry.
I didn't start fasting till I was 39. So maybe you got time still.
Maybe it'll happen this summer.
I was 6 meals a day, 2.5 hours every day for the last 20 years. And then I started fasting, and my life's never been easier. And I'm not saying it's not saying for everybody, but I mean that if you go back to the way we were, that's how we survived: feed and fast. We didn't have access to food every 2.5 hours.
Plus, I think it's about feeling your best. You know.
Yeah, what works for you.
Yeah.
But making health and fitness a priority, so you actually do something.
Yeah.
And you don't just stick your head in the sand and get fat.
Another big thing, just kind of go back to like whole foods, because a lot of people, you know, they ask like, oh, what's a healthy thing? What's a healthy carb? Whatever. And they mean like weight loss. But like with carbs, you know, I'll be eating sweet potatoes or oats and be like, oh, don't you want to like low carb? I don't low carb because like they reload my glycogen levels in my muscles and I feel best when I'm on there.
Oh, like low carbohydrate. Like you mean the amount of carbohydrates?
Yeah, I don't really do low carb. I used to do that when I was like doing my drastic shredding cycles years ago. But you
can get very lean eating carbs the whole way through.
Yeah. Well,
if they're the right carbs.
Well, yeah, and just to explain what the right carbs mean, because most people are like, what are good carbs? What makes them? To me, a good carb is something that actually satisfies me and fuels me. So for example, I could eat 3 slices of bread, which is like a total like maybe 50 carbs.
Yeah.
I'll still be starving, but I took in those calories.
It's high processed, refined.
Your body doesn't, it's almost like it doesn't recognize it. Or I could have a sweet potato that's like a certain mass that's 50 grams of carbs and I'm stuffed and I'm satisfied. So those to me are the right carbs.
Low GI carbs.
They actually satisfy you and they have that even like release of energy.
Oatmeal, sweet potato. They say brown rice, white rice, brown rice, the same, I feel.
The rice is lean to me, but it doesn't satify me like a potato does.
No, it's not the same. Yeah. It's not as dense, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure because I hear like, so brown rice apparently has a little bit more fiber, but to me, I don't feel a difference between like what fills me up more efficiently.
But there's stuff on Joe Rogan's podcast, and they're talking how brown rice, you shouldn't even touch brown rice anymore, which is interesting because I was always a big fan of brown rice. Did
they give the reason? Because I feel like you go on the internet long enough and you can find anything is terrible for
eggs
you.
Are great. Eggs
like
bad,
eating an organic banana. Oh my God, I was talking to, this is a couple years ago. I was trying to approach this one investor and I was talking about another flavor I want to do. It's going to be a banana nut bread flavor. Which first of all, the flavoring might not have anything to do with actually the whole food ingredient name. Doesn't necessarily mean there's bananas in it anyway, but she goes, no, you shouldn't do that because I know a doctor says you just shouldn't eat bananas. I'm like, well, your doctor is clearly not a nutritionist and I'm going to say just an idiot in general. Like, yeah, if you're trying to get shredded, okay, cut off bananas a little bit. But like just a general blanketed statement, you shouldn't eat bananas. Not to mention, again, a banana has nothing to do with necessarily like the flavoring of the bar. But yeah, like you'll find, oh, don't eat greens because something. It's like, no, come on. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like anything on earth, like greens, vegetables, things that's there, I feel like that's what we're designed to eat. So that's why I feel
the natural stuff that grows.
Yeah, so like, don't eat kale. Like I understand like certain things you should buy organic. So they're like, hey, don't eat conventional blueberries because those are usually, they're on the dirty dozen list of high pesticides. So yeah, eat those organic. But like anybody that makes a blanket statement, it's like, oh, don't eat, I don't know. Yeah, a sweet potato causes inflammation or something. Like,
you know what
I think it's BS.
I listen to people who look the part. Someone who looks like you, I will listen to.
Well, thank you.
Because you're a walking specimen of health. If someone's overweight, tell me not to eat something. I'm not going to listen to that person. I'm not going to listen to a broke financial planner. I'm not going to listen to a fat personal trainer. I'm going to look to someone who lives and breathes this stuff, right?
The personal trainer that needs a personal trainer?
Yeah, I'm going to listen to people who, especially when they're in their late 30s, people in their 40s. I've had people older than me who look better than me. They're the ones you want to listen to, the ones you inspired to be like. You're not going to listen to somebody who isn't healthy. I met a doctor the other day. He was 39 and he was leaner than you. He was shredded. And he opens the door and I meet this guy and he's a big dude. And I was like, oh, hey, what's up? Blah, blah, blah. Find out he's a doctor. I'm like, dude, if every doctor, every nurse was like you, the world would be a completely different place. How many doctors and nurses do you know who are healthy? Very rare, right? And I'm not dissing on them.
I don't.
But most of them don't live and breathe the healthy lifestyle.
I see my dentist twice a year to get my teeth cleaned. I have a heart doctor because I was born with a heart defect. I see him once a year.
It's like you're
I never go to the doctor ever.
That's the thing, right? I never go to the doctor anyway. But I mean, just in general, it's like a dentist having bad teeth. Mm-hmm. You're probably not going to go to that dentist anymore.
I feel like a lot of doctors, it's high pressure. They all have drinking problems.
And I know my dad worked in a hospital for 25 years. Most of the nurses smoked.
Yeah.
Because it's a high stressful job.
The overnight crew, big on smoking. And
smoking. We all know. I saw a video the other day, and it was cardiologists. And it was a TikTok video, and there was 10 of them. Mm-hmm. And they're like, what is the number one thing you recommend don't do? All of them said smoking. Mm-hmm. So smoking is the worst thing you can possibly do for your heart. So, I mean, it's just listening to the right people.
Oh, yeah. The only problem today is again, because anybody can start a YouTube channel or an Instagram account, and they could be actual doctors. And I've seen some doctors that will just say the most whack shit. I'm like, oh my God. And they're influencing a lot of people.
But then it goes back to, are they healthy? Or are they someone you aspire to be? The doctor I met, dude, if I could look half the way he did, I'd be happy.
Well, and I think it just goes to common sense though also. Again, it's goes back to what I was saying about Whole Foods. It's it's there. That's what we're meant to eat. Some of these crazy diets oh yeah, I'm on the cottage cheese diet. I only eat cottage cheese. And then they have this crazy explanation, which if you were clueless, you'd be like, well, I guess I could see how that makes sense. You have all these stupid, crazy doctors that are doing that. And they're always promoting some stupid pill.
But what it goes back to is nobody will, if you commit to anything for long enough and it's healthy, you'll get results, right? Mm-hmm. Whether you're a vegan or a carnivore or keto, or you do 6 meals or you do your fasting, but you got to commit to it, and you got to commit to it for a certain amount of time, and you'll get results. Any of those diets will get you healthy and will get to where you want to be. But if you're fluffing and pretty lights and you're going for these what's next, you're going to buy into the cottage cheese diet. You're going to buy into the juice diet. You're going to buy into it, and you're not going to commit to it anyway, because you're unable to do something for long enough, consistently enough, because you lack the willpower. Mm. And you have strong willpower. I have strong willpower. Therefore, you get results. It's all it is. Everybody just wants that instant gratification. They don't want to put the work in. And that's why everyone's fat and overweight.
I think that's 100% as far as not wanting to put the work in, because I think deep down everybody knows what you need to do.
Everybody knows.
You need to do this cardio for the weight loss. You need to lift these weights for this.
When you're 3 years old, you know what's good and bad for you.
Yeah.
Don't you?
They want that infomercial.
Do you know what's good for you and bad for you at 3 or not? You do, right? You know what's good for
Questionable for me, yeah.
At 5, you definitely. I mean, my daughter's 9 now. She knows what's good and bad for her. Uh-huh. It's now up to her to make it important enough to make that decision.
True. And you got to be consistent with it, yeah.
Yeah, and it just bugs me when people I don't know what to eat. My parents didn't. You are an adult. Take responsibility. Pick up your phone. Google it.
One thing I hope people, if you're used to eating fast food a lot, or you're not working out, if you just make those changes and commit for a little bit, it gets so much easier. If you're eating a bunch of fast food, your body's used to that. It's what it's craved. If you cut that out and start eating your veggies, or make a smoothie, because I hate kale, I hate beets, but I make a kale beet smoothie with my vanilla protein powder every day. It tastes good, and I feel amazing. I would never eat those alone. So figure out a way to get it in there. But once you actually change that, eventually you're not going to crave that shit. You're not going to crave the fast food or the workouts. Workouts suck when you first start working out. It is tough at first. It sucks. But once you start working a lot and you get in shape, to me, working out is the most easy, simple thing now. So it's once you get into it, it gets easier, and you're not going to crave that shit anymore. You just have to have the willpower for a long enough time.
And there's 2 ways of approaching that. Right? You don't even need to necessarily you don't even necessarily have to cut something out, because there's another way where if you introduce healthy food into a bad diet, you will then stop to crave that. Because if you start eating, all right, let's look at it this way. You're eating fast food all the time. You start eating your bars. What happens? You start getting full, your blood sugar starts to level out, and now you don't want to have that in and out for lunch because you're good. And then you can also argue too, not everybody needs to go to the gym. If you love playing tennis and that's your thing, go play tennis. Go nuts, go play tennis. Don't put the pressure on yourself that you actually have to do something, because that's what you're supposed to do. So I don't mean to cut you off, but I mean, it's true though, right?
No, you're 100% right. Glad you brought up as far as especially the sports and activities, because if you are somebody that really needs to make it kind of entertaining or fun, I would just, get into some type of sport or activity. Now me, when my workout, I know my workout's not going to be fun. I'm going to get on a treadmill because, okay, I just want to lean out.
You love running. I hate running.
Oh, I don't like running.
Oh,
but it's
you do
there
it
and I
anyway.
know it works.
So I hate running. I've never run.
Like,
I'm not a runner.
I used to play hockey and stuff. Yeah, no, I'm not. Trust me, I'm not.
But I'll do Muay Thai and I'll get my butt kicked on pad work or something. So I get it in the way that I like to do.
People need to do, like kickboxing or even boxing, especially, you know, a lot of people that have like knee issues and like have issues with impact. Yeah, they're not going to run.
That's where I struggle.
But if you're hitting a heavy bag intensely for an hour, like, oh my God, you're going to burn crazy calories. You're going to be done.
Heavy bag. I did it the other day. I was spent for the day.
Oh yeah.
I was so tired.
Oh yeah.
I thought I was fine, and I got home. I was like, I shouldn't have pushed so
And you can pace yourself too. Like you don't have to put everything in every punch, but if you do put everything in every punch, yeah, you're gonna be like spent. Super quick. But that's a good cardio, and again, you're not messing up like your knees and
it's whatever works for you, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And that changes, and it doesn't need just because you're running at age 20 doesn't mean you got to run your whole life. You might change to hiking. You might start whatever it is. Start doing yoga, but make sure you move and make sure you eat right, and don't make the excuse that I don't know what to do, because that's BS.
That's BS. That's just kind of like a victim's mentality. Oh, I don't know. It's like you're in control of your own life.
I don't know how to start a business. I don't know how to make a protein bar. Whatever it is, figure it out. If it's important enough for you.
That's the thing. I think in anything in life, whatever it is, you have to want it bad enough. So yeah, if you're always like, oh. Like a lot of people I know, I think they generally like talking about their diets and what they're eating versus actually wanting to get their results.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But like, yeah, you maybe just don't want it bad enough.
Would you probably keep your mouth shut and lead by example, right?
Well, I laugh and maybe I talk shit behind their back, but like I'm doing right now.
But I mean, you're too busy out there actually.
But yeah, but like
making change.
How do I do this? And I tell them like, listen, you know what to do. Just Google, you know, how to lean out or cardio. Or again, I think deep down people know. Okay, if you want to lean out, do cardio. If you want to build muscle to shape, lift weights. But people want they want to do all these like shit you see on infomercials or take that miracle pill. And it's like, you know what you need to do. So yeah, it just kind of depends on like how bad do you want it. If you want something bad enough, you'll do it and it'll feel great once you achieve that. But if you don't want it bad enough, well, it is what it is.
You outside of eating well and your training, you do meditation, saunas, cold therapy, anything like that you do on a daily basis?
No, I'm doing that actually.
Interesting. So it's just fitness and eating right for you.
Yeah, an occasional, not eating right, but yeah.
What's your go-to?
Life's all about that balance.
What's your cheat? I don't like to say cheat. What's your fun food?
I think it's more just the abundance of like portions. Like I don't think sushi really is like a bad.
It's good. Sushi's my go-to.
Yeah, I like load up on sushi.
I'll do all you can eat at least once a week.
Yeah, that, and then I don't know. It's changed because I used to eat more like fast food. Now every now and then I'll go to Taco Bell, but it's not a thing. But yeah, I don't know. Actually, overall, I eat like pretty clean. It's just like, no, you put me on the spot. I don't know.
Yeah, I was just wondering. With the marketing for the business, how's that going? What are you doing?
To be honest, not much. It's actually been surviving through almost like a miracle. So the bar is in all Sprouts grocery stores nationwide.
That's amazing, by the way.
Thank you. Cool. Just got into 7-Eleven's giving it a shot in their locations all around Dallas.
How do you get that? How do those doors open?
So the 7-Eleven, I think is a good story as far as, hey, just go and talk to somebody or cold call somebody or whatever.
Who do you talk to?
Here's the story on how I got them into 7-Elevens down in Dallas. And they're in their test phase right now. So they're in Dallas.
But I mean, the fact you get the opportunity is huge.
So
you created that opportunity, which is amazing.
Yeah, so this I was at a convenience store convention out here in Vegas.
Convenience store convention.
Which, by the way, if you live in Vegas, you have such an advantage with these conventions. I'll go into that later. But there's a convenience store convention in town at the Las Vegas Convention Center. It's a huge convention center. And I actually got a free pass because I hooked up this one small company with some good hotel rates at one of the resorts on the strip. So they could stay here. So they're like, hey, I'll give you a free badge from our company. They make like these gourmet desserts. I'm like, okay, cool. So I go to this convention and I'm trying to like, again, scout out the category managers that have stalked on LinkedIn, but there's like 20,000 people there. I'm not going to find any of these people. I'm like, oh, I'm screwed. But anyway, I'm sitting outside the lobby of the Las Vegas Convention Center, and these 3 people walk by, and they have their badges, and it shows the company. It says 7-Eleven. And then they stop, and they start holding this business meeting. And I'm like, I got to go up there. So I walk up to them. I go,
what went through your head?
I was like,
you're
here, do it.
Are you a procrastinator, or are you just kind of?
I am a procrastinator in some things, but not with this.
Okay.
I was like, okay, just go do it.
Talk to me about the mentality. Is it like, I've got nothing to lose, I'm going to regret it if I don't? Like,
that's what you have to lose.
What are you telling yourself?
Certain opportunities that you're scared to do, you should be more scared to not take that opportunity.
I like that.
You should be scared of the regret.
So that was the mindset.
This one, I was kind of carefree about it, to be honest, because again, I'm more like, I should be in Whole Foods, Sprouts, 7-Elevens, we'll see. But I see them talking, so I go up to them, and I have my jujitsu bag full of green super protein bars, and I have my sell sheets, which is like an informative brochure. And I go, excuse me, I apologize for interrupting, but I just wonder, how do I become a vendor with you guys? How do I get my product in 7-Elevens? And the guy in the suit, looking most important, just takes the lead. He's like, well, what are you selling? And I was like, it's the green super protein bars, this new high protein green superfood meal replacement bar. I know you guys are going towards like the health direction. And aside from, energy drinks and cigarettes, most people that go to 7-Elevens, they're grabbing a meal or a snack to take to work with them.
That's the only reason I go, yeah.
So I was like, I think this would be perfect. Here's bars. So I gave 3 of them 1 bar each. And the guy goes, all right, well, here's my card. If I like them, I'll talk to my head of merchandising. All right, have a good day. And
really?
they walk away from me. And I look at the card, and it's Joe DePinto, the CEO of 7-Eleven.
Was it?
And I'm like, shit.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So, I didn't know.
You never would have known
He
that.
apparently was on an episode of Undercover Boss one time, but I had no idea who it was.
No.
I didn't recognize him. But he gave me his card. And so I waited a week after the convention to like let everything settle down. I waited a week to email him. So I emailed him, thought I was like, hey, I just want to get your feedback on the bars. He didn't respond, but 2 days later, his category manager for the nutrition bars emailed me. It was like, hey, we got this request from above. We want, send 2 boxes to these category managers. We want to try them out, see what they're about. I'm like, okay, great. So I sent them boxes of bars down in Texas.
I'm guessing they don't pay for it, right?
No. If you want to get into any stores, trust me, the least of your problems is giving away product in all their stores.
Yeah, I just wondering. I just had to ask.
Yeah.
I figured you give it about for as much as it takes.
Oh yeah. Well, even in any store, like for example, like Sprouts, they don't charge. Some stores like Target charge you $50,000 just to be on their shelf, like if they choose you. But
really?
Most stores, at minimum, you have to free fill, meaning you have to give a box for every single location. But yeah, with this one, yeah, they wanted 2 boxes. They weren't going to pay for it.
No brainer.
So I sent them 2 boxes. And then gave it some time, followed up, and the one category manager was like, yeah, we just don't, I think it's too much of a niche product for 7-Eleven. And I was like, and I gave him my whole spiel that I gave Joe. I'm like, no, this is why this would actually make sense. Doesn't seem like it would, but you guys are going more in the health direction. This is the perfect on-the-go meal replacement, and it actually tastes good. And you don't have any green bars. You have like, a couple protein candy bars. And I kind of changed her mind. She's like, okay, well, we'll keep you in mind.
This is months ago. Are you a good talker?
It depends. I like to think so. Hopefully, I don't know.
I mean,
I just like to be real and honest. And if you have a good product, just talk about its use.
Because I mean, you got to remember how many times I've heard some similar pitch. Mm-hmm. And so, what makes you different, right? Like,
I just believe in what I have, which is the product. Like, I can't sell something that I don't believe in.
The passion.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
You got to have the passion. So. A couple months, this was many months ago, but a couple months after that conversation, she reached out. She's like, hey, we're doing what's called a small scale test run. It's going to be in 10, and we want to test your product. Like, we're going to give you a shot. So we're going to put it in 10 locations around Dallas, where they're headquartered. You have 60 days. So if you're in Dallas, please go to 7-Elevens and buy those, because I'm in competition with the other brands. But basically have 60 days, like beat out the other brands. And then we might do a larger scale test run, which is 200 to 300 stores. And then who knows eventually, because there's 10,000 7-Eleven locations in the country. And they also own Speedway, which is another 4,000 locations. Now, I do not have the money or the capital to even support that. But I mean, I could do, if they do a larger scale run.
But that's a good problem to figure out if that came about.
Yeah, I definitely need investors, but especially if I get that going. But that's how I got into 7-Eleven.
That's crazy. So the bar's in there. So now you're just waiting for someone to come along and pick it up.
Yeah.
Can you do anything on your side to build awareness, social media, things like that? To help?
I actually reached out to, because you can do targeted ads, which first of all, I don't even do targeted ads. I need to.
Yeah.
I have no good reason why I'm not doing them. I need to learn how to do it.
going back.
Google, YouTube.
No, but I love the humility. I love the fact you're honest about it.
Yeah, I could be doing a lot more in that aspect. But as far as like Dallas, I actually reached out to some personal trainers I knew down there. I was like, hey, they're in 7-Elevens. Like, tell all your clients, do whatever you can. Like, please, I'd appreciate it. Because a lot of people, especially friends, like people want to help out people.
How many boxes? Could you just... Okay, could you send them money to go buy the bars out?
I could do that. And some people actually, like there's this one company, they're huge now. They used to have a vegan mayonnaise company. Now they do this vegan fried egg thing, but they actually, I want to say they got in trouble. They was kind of scandalous because they sent like a whole team out across the country to like buy all their product off the shelves from Whole Foods because they were right before another round of investment funding. So people do that. And like, yeah, if my numbers are low, I could definitely just say, hey, it's $4 a bar. I'll give you $8 a bar to go buy it just to get to the next level. Because that's the whole point of this trust run. I'm not going to make any money by this 10-store test run.
To get to the next level.
It's to get to that larger scale run. And then you have a whole nother problem is now you really got to drive business to the stores because sales velocity is what it's all about. I could be in 300 stores with a great sales velocity, or I could be in 20,000 stores. And if nobody knows about the product, nobody buys it, you're screwed. So it's about getting into the stores, having the capital to supply the stores, especially because, again, free fill, 7-Eleven wants 10,000 stores stocked. That first 10,000 boxes, or maybe even 20,000 boxes, is going to be given away to them. But and then you have to have a marketing budget to drive people into stores. Because, people are walking by and hopefully they'll find it. Unlike Amazon, where it's like, if they don't know your brand, they're never going to find it because people don't go to even page 2. But at least you're on the shelf, they're there. But you still have to have a marketing budget and have awareness and have a customer base to actually have sustainable sales.
Super interesting.
Right now it's about, just winning this 60-day kind of test run competition just to get to the next level. And then, worry about it then. Then maybe I'll do some targeted ads around Dallas and 7-Eleven.
I love your attitude. It's like you're not overlooking, like you're looking at one step at a time and one problem at a time. And I think that's, I mean, I've heard that a lot. I think that's probably the best way to do it, right? You're not like, oh my God, what happens here? Like, okay, let's deal with this. And then if this happens, let's deal with this. Yeah, that's really cool. How'd you get in Sprouts?
So that's another little story. So some stores,
I want to hear these stories now.
I'm giving out like inside information. So some stores, it's like you could try forever, go through all these processes, and like you don't get in. And it could be like a 10-store location or something like you don't even really care about. And then you could have this huge chain that's like one phone call, and they're like, yeah, you know what? We like the idea of it. We dig it. We want it to start nationwide. So most stores like Sprouts, Whole Foods, Smith's, grocery stores, to even get in there, even if you know the category manager, because you can go on LinkedIn, you can search category manager, you can do a lot of hacking online and try to stalk these people. Usually they're not going to.
Yeah, that's a very important point, is use LinkedIn to your advantage.
Yeah,
you can pretty much find anyone you want through LinkedIn.
But with a lot of category managers, because again, they have like thousands of these small companies trying to hit them up. A lot of times you're not getting a response.
Not even necessarily reaching out to them, but just find the hierarchy, right? Finding who you need to find, finding who's in charge, and then working your way down and just getting an understanding, opposed to like, I don't know what to do.
Oh yeah,
do some research.
I highly recommend doing it. I'm just saying in this specific category, like you might not get a response from the category manager, but definitely like, especially if you don't have a broker, which I don't have a broker currently.
What do you say, broker? What do you mean?
So with all those like food companies, again, because category managers, they don't want to deal with like thousands of owners of companies and like it's too much. They almost only deal with these sales agencies, these brokers. So these brokerage companies basically represent food companies, for example, like mine, which again, I don't even have one. But and they talk to the brokers. So there's a lot of big sales agencies out there that the category managers have a good relationship with, and they get presented to and they pay attention to them. Oh, what do you have? Oh, you got this new green part? Okay, present that to me.
Okay, gotcha.
Maybe we'll put that in, this year. Okay. That's typically how you get these products in these stores. Now, in my case, I was actually talking to a broker, and I wasn't even paying him. He just believed in the product, and he just linked me up with the category manager.
That's always nice, isn't it?
He just said, hey, here's the guy's email, here's the phone number. He's probably not going to respond to you, but
yeah, why not?
I'm hooking you up. Oh, and send him boxes. Here's the address. I'm like, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I was so hopeful because I hadn't gotten turned down by a bunch of stores before, or just not gotten responded to. So I'm like, I got this guy's name, all this stuff. So yeah, sent him a box and started corresponding through emails. And yeah, it just took one phone call. He's like, hey, the broker that I deal with, he thought these bars were really cool. It's a new concept. Tell me about them. I'm like, okay, yeah, we're using this new like green protein source from green water lentils. It's meal replacement, this and this, like what we've been talking about. And he's like, you know what? I like it. It's an innovative product. It's easier, by the way, to get a product on shelves if it's an innovative product. Like my plant-based protein powder that I used to do and I don't even do anymore, it's not an innovative product anymore. So if you don't have 100 million in sales, like what store would put you on the shelf?
So when you say that, you mean something different, modern?
Something innovative, something that's new.
Okay, something that's kind of stepped it up a little bit.
Yeah, so the category manager at Sprouts got it. A lot of people don't understand. They're like, okay, it's a green protein bar, but he really understood.
So what was that? Was it like, how did you word that to separate yourself?
I started really selling on the point of actually the new plant protein ingredient, that green water lentil protein, because they don't isolate amino acids out. You get protein, but you get fiber, you get micronutrients, and it's really a green superfood protein. And again, I really hit hard on everything's a protein candy bar in your aisles right now, or a low-calorie snack bar. This has the protein, it has the nutrient density, and it's actually going to fill you up. So whether you're a fitness buff or you're a busy parent, busy work professional, whatever, this is good for anybody and everybody. And he's like, you know what? I like it. And now most stores, they start regionally. This, he was actually like, we want to put it in. So there's about 370 Sprout stores nationwide. I'm in about 320 of them because certain locations don't have the superfood set. So if you go to Sprouts and you go down the protein bar aisle, it's in the superfood section. So it's either past all the protein candy bars in the superfood like greens powder section where there's only a couple other bars there. Usually it's like bags of green powders, or it's on the other side of the aisle, just across from the bars. But it's down the protein bar aisle. But I know like here in Vegas, if anybody's familiar with Sahara and Hualapai location, they don't have it there because they don't have that superfood set. But the majority of the Sprouts across the country, and I only have one flavor, one SKU. So it was sustainable with my own startup cash. But yeah, they wanted,
Talk to me about that. Do you think a lot of people, I mean, I read a lot of books, like business books. I'm guessing you probably do too. And a lot of people talk about just keeping things more niche. So you're either In-N-Out or you're McDonald's. You don't need to have those 10 SKUs. So you've got the one, but you're doing the one properly and it's working. Well,
if I had an investor and had more money, so I'm actually coming out with 2 additional flavors
down the line
later this summer.
But how long have you been in business?
So I launched these. So I developed them in 2020 during the pandemic. I launched them in 2021.
So I mean,
this is going on year 2.
Yeah,
but
you have achieved amazing things.
Thank you.
For what you in a short period of time.
It's been tough because I'm completely self-funded. So another thing about they call it the CPG industry, consumer packaged. Consumer packaged goods, whether it be like a bar, an energy drink, healthy snacks, pretty much any type of like snack product. Most of those companies, they get seed funding of like $500,000, and then maybe they can hire some brokers and get into stores and hopefully, go from there and get their venture capital Series A funding of like a few $1,000,000. I have no funding. I'm completely self-funded and I work a full-time job. So
how much did it cost you to get started?
Let's see. Well, the productions cost me like, and I do what I would consider small productions. Productions are like $35,000, but again, depending on so Sprouts, the first 300 or so boxes you had to give away.
But I mean, your initial start, like with 35 grand,
just for the production. We got a website and a lot of other costs, especially like promotional costs. And if you have a distributor, they're going to try to take your money at every turn.
So you went all in.
Yeah. So usually you need a deep tank. You need a deep bucket of money, which I don't have, which starting off small, I would start, if I could do it all over again, and I could still pivot this way. Anyway, I would focus on more like direct to consumer and selling just online directly to customers. Because again, if you're working with the distributor, they're going to take a huge chunk. And then, so for example, the bars sell for $4 at the store.
Okay.
Well, I get $2.25 a bar from my distributor because Sprouts buys from the distributor.
Yep.
So I get that. My distributor takes a percentage of that. They also charge me for every fee made up under the sun. So the margins are small now, but also again, you have to have this budget. So I'll do promotional budgets with the distributor, so they promote out to all the other stores that they distribute to, which in my case, I think has been inefficient. Like I'll spend $5,000 and only like 3 more like different independent stores see the ad and with the distributor and actually buy.
Do you mind if I ask you the percentage of profit on something like on a bar?
So my margin, I would say is pretty low. It's like 30%. You want margins are everything too. So you want
30. Okay. Margin. So I mean, it's not. I mean, it's
low,
okay. But it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's very similar to food and wine and that type of industry. Like, okay. I'm just interested. Yeah, I have no idea.
Because, but yeah, to get like, for example, you go to Whole Foods or you go to Espresso and see any other company, even if it's like, oh, it's Timmy's Cookies. You think Timmy's, no, Timmy has like $5 million in investment capital behind him. You rarely see people that go straight to like retail and try to go national. With like hardly any money. Like I have enough money to like do the productions and stuff, and I have very limited like a marketing budget, which that's where margins come in, because you have to have margins, otherwise you're not going to have a marketing budget. And without marketing, you'd have the best product in the world if nobody knows about it.
You know
it's
what?
Not going to happen.
I say that saying all the time. I've never heard anyone else actually say that. I use that all the time. So it's really
nice. You have the best thing in the world, nobody knows about.
Yeah, the best product in the world, no one knows about it, no one's going to use it.
Well, it's true. I think
I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge believer of that.
Like my plant-based protein powder that I used to do, again, I'm pivoting fully to the Green Super Protein Bar, but I legit, it was the best, cleanest plant-based protein powder jug on the market. But I only had a small community of like loyal customers. But what I felt bad about was I emailed everybody like on my whole email list. I'm like, hey, we're discontinuing the plant-based protein powder, but I'm offering a deal because, again, this is going to be gone forever. We can do like a distributor deal where you get 40% off if you buy a case of 12 jugs.
Gotcha.
I had 20 people buy 12 jugs each of protein powder. One guy bought 24 jugs.
Really?
Who the hell buys that much protein? But they knew about it, but I had no money. I couldn't get it out to other people. Other people knew about it. Like it would have been a raging success because the protein was awesome. I still have like 15 jugs in my own stash that nobody else is going to get. It's mine. But
I want to get back to what makes you think you can do this?
I feel like I have no
dropping that much money, jumping in. Like you say, you haven't got endless amount of money. Like, who are you to think you can do this?
I'm glad you asked that question. So I
mean, that's a mindset in itself.
It is 100% a true, I would say, entrepreneur's mindset, because most people, they're like, hey, they work this job and they might have a decent job and they have their 401k. I feel like a true entrepreneur is like, listen, I'm not going to be happy unless I'm hugely successful. 401k is not going to do it. This regular job's not going to do it for me. So I might as well risk it all to get there. Because if I do a 401k, like I have no chance of getting where I want to be anyway.
Amen.
So,
Amen.
I mean, a lot of people have, again, expensive habits or whatever. And, I'd rather take like all my money, take all my savings and put it on something that I can scale. Because technically I can scale this bar business. Like some of these bar companies are selling to the like Hershey's and Mondelez International and Kellogg's for hundreds of millions of dollars. So it's what I know the best at, or what I know the best. And the only opportunity that I can scale into like something that will actually like get you that like 100 million mark. So I'd rather gamble on myself than, I would say, I mean, not even gamble at all. Just like put all your money into your 401k and your Roth IRA and all that stuff. And it's like, yeah, because I'm in control of this investment. This is a business that I can control.
I love it. I love hearing that. So. And you still work full-time job? How is that holding you back from your business?
It's completely screwing me because my shift is like right in the middle of the day. So I work basically from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Gotcha.
Now,
at what point do you need to dive in and cut the job to go into the business full? So you're not in the business full time, right? As much as you try to be, you're not.
Yeah. So I wake up at about 7 a.m. and try to get like everything done I can. But the big part of operating this is just more administrative stuff and more like email back and forth.
Okay.
With, whatever it is, my distributor or like shipping and all this stuff. Well, and I also try to work out every day. So that's always like a big priority of mine. So a lot of times by the time I need to hear back on something and then I can respond and actually have something done, I got to be at work.
Yeah.
So what could just take 2 minutes, oh, hey, I need this adjusted for my website, get back to me when it's done. Okay, now I see it. Oh, this adjustment, back and forth, that could take like a few minutes over the phone or even through email. Well, now that I'm away at work, I sneak a lot. I sneak away. But a lot of stuff, it's like a day. And speed is going to kill you, or lack of speed, I should say. So things that could be handled in half an hour that day, it's always got to wait a day. But yeah, my goal is I'm going to put forth a lot more energy in raising capital and actually getting like an angel investor, because then I could actually leave. Because right now it's tough, and it's almost like it's just going to keep treading water if I am still working full time at this job.
I watch a lot of Shark Tank, and I can see you, like the whole Shark Tank thing.
I actually applied 2 weeks ago.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and what I'm getting at is if you're good at this business and you want it to work, at what point are you going to 100% like get rid of that safety net? And I mean, not a safety net, but I mean the time and the ability to get straight back.
And different businesses are different. So again, the CPG industry, it takes a lot of money at first, and you're going to burn it. And again, that's why, like, if you don't have a seed funding of like $500,000, you're at an extreme disadvantage. Like me working full time and supplying it just on my own cash, I'm in a dinghy boat and waters are rough. I need a battleship. Most people have these battleships, but other businesses, for example, like my ex, she actually started this cool party rental company where, you know, they bounce around houses, flower walls, those stuff. Okay, you have the upfront costs of buying the bounce around house and the flower walls and everything like that. But once you get up and running and have your customers, aside from, you know, maybe maintenance and things like that, you're generating revenue. And then once you're above what you already paid, now you're in the profit zone.
And then you can buy another one.
Yeah.
I mean,
and you can do it
in front of you with the same thing.
There we go.
Yeah.
CPG companies, most of these companies, they grow sales. And that's the whole goal, is to grow sales and get another investment and later on and keep growing. But they're not really profiting in the first few years if they're growing.
Yeah,
and I'm trying to grow like sustainably. And again, with my limited cash, it's a balancing act. But yeah, because there's a lot of fees, a lot of promotional stuff that costs a lot of money. So, and they're going to eat, you know, away your margins. And again, if I'm trying to triple my flavor offering, and if I'm trying to hire brokers, they're going to make more money than I'm paying myself. You know, it takes a lot of money. So I'm definitely going to start looking for like investors.
What happens, and I'm not trying to jinx you here, and it's like, what happens if a company really wants, like 7-Eleven, really wants to pick you up and you can't fill the order? A lot of business can fail that way, right?
So yeah, so a lot of going back to, like, I recommend, like, in this type of product, like, go direct to consumer first and get money, get your profits going. A lot of companies are actually trying to grow too fast with a limited, like, not a strong enough capital structure, meaning not enough money behind it
to fill the inventory, right?
They'll evaporate. They go out of business. Yeah,
so, you see it all the time.
If 7-Eleven was like, hey, we're going to bump you up to the 200, 300 store trial thing, I could probably sustain that. But if they were like, well, worst case scenario, I would just have to turn them down. But yeah, if they were like, hey, we want you in all 10,000 stores, I would have to just beg and plead every rich person I know and show them, like, hey, they want in 10,000 stores. I'll give you an example, 7-Eleven specific. I don't know if this is supposed to be confidential or whatever. But so 10,000 stores. If they want you in 10,000 stores, they want at least one free box for a store. So you got to give away 10,000. So that would be like $150,000.
Yeah.
And if you want that box on the counter, I think they call it their ramp up program, which would give it a really good, honest shot. If it's on the counter, eventually people are going to impulse buy that. They want $400,000. So just
you paid for the to be in the right spot.
Yeah. So just to be in their stores and on the counter, you just went through $650,000.
Yeah.
Now, what if this is successful and each store sells a box in a week? Well, you need hundreds and hundreds of thousands months ago to actually have the supply to continue fulfilling those orders.
To have everything ready.
So this is where it comes into play, where you have to have a strong capital structure of hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions. I do not have millions.
This is why I'm always fascinated with business, because it's like a game of chess, right?
And everything's different. Every industry is different. Yeah, but they're not going to teach you that in business management school.
Yeah, and that's why I'm fascinated in this, because it's like there's so many moving pieces.
Oh yeah.
And if this moves here, this has got to adjust, and it's
and if you have long lead times, it screws everything up.
Terrifying at the same time, right?
Yeah, it's not fun.
This is fascinating. I love it.
I love being miserable, apparently, because
I do a lot of stuff on fitness on the podcast, but I love the business is my passion.
Yeah,
I love fitness, but it kind of becomes boring.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, you know how to lose weight, blah blah blah. But this is fascinating.
And business is the ultimate game of
like
risk and reward.
Right?
This is your life. Like, treat it like a game, otherwise you will lose. Treat it like a game, but like, yeah, it's like it's all your money. Or hopefully you get invested and it's not your money. Right now it's my money. So like it's a dangerous game, but yeah, again, I don't feel like I have a choice, because what I want out of life, the life I want to build, I have to do this because this is what I'm best
when you're
at.
80, you got regret.
Yeah, totally.
I wish I did that.
Like even if I'm poor at 80, I will not have any regrets because I know
you gave it.
Shit, man, I did everything. I'm
100% on the same page as you.
I hope I don't have to get to that point where I'm like, well, at least I gave it all.
But at least you know you tried.
At least you got that. Yeah.
Let's talk mistakes.
Okay. Every day, I think, probably, but yeah.
I'm all about like failing forwards and learning lessons, but what's been some of the biggest learning curves for you?
Within this specific industry, just like how it operates, what you actually need working for you, and really how much money you need to have. Because when I first started years ago, just making plant-based protein bar, I'm like, well, if I have the best product, it's just going to happen. Why are these companies investing in these horrible products? And I had no idea all the wheels that were in motion that really affects why venture capital firms invest in certain companies. And like, I just thought, well, I got the best product.
Were you reading self-education and business books back then?
I mean, I don't really read any business books. It was just kind of, I would come across stuff like, for example, I'm not going to name them, but like it was this meal replacement shake, and this was years and years ago, and they just sold to some other company for like $1 billion now. But it had the worst ingredients. It was the shittiest product I've ever seen, and it was developed by this computer coder who knows nothing about nutrition. But he started this blog about, I made this mix, this drink with soy protein and maltodextrin carbs and like all these shitty ingredients. And it helps me code all day. I don't have to eat food. And so all the like tech people were like, what? He's changing the game. He doesn't have to eat. It's like, if you saw this guy, you'd be like, why would I ever want to take his advice? It looks just like a flubbery skeleton. But anyway, because he was hooked up in tech on all the Silicon Valley venture capital firms, he started getting millions of dollars in investment. I didn't understand that. I'm like, what the hell? Well, come to find out, it's a lot of things. But I'm just like, well, I got the best protein powder. I have muscles. What? And I had no connections there.
I'm going to teach you something. I quote this all the time. When you think of hamburgers, what's the first company you think of?
McDonald's.
When you think of shoes?
Nike.
When you think of soda?
Pepsi.
Oh, so most people,
I like Pepsi. I would say Coke.
Most
Coke
people say
is probably
Coke.
more for it. Yeah.
And what that basically is getting at is they're all not what's the best hamburger in the world?
I don't know.
No one knows, right? When you think hamburgers, what's the first thing you think of? McDonald's, like you said. And it goes back to, you don't have the best product, the best marketing. It's the awareness. It's the top of mind. It's dropping that pieces at all time. So you stay top of mind. And it goes back to, you don't have to have the best product in the world, but you got to have something that everybody knows about.
Well,
and that's going back to like what you're saying, right?
I'm glad you touched on that, because I would say that's one of the things. And I still I don't want to accept it, because I'm like, when you pay your money for a product, the only thing that matters is what's in your hands, right? That tangible product that you paid for. But in reality, and again, I need to accept this more and more, but what you just hit on is, when people are purchasing things, I would say the most important thing in their buying decision is their branding strength and their story. But their branding and their story could all be BS. The only real thing you're buying is the actual product. So to me, I'm like, I want the best product, but you do have to have branding. And you definitely have a story. But branding, I would say, is probably the most important. Your brand strength, like, I'll give you an example. Cartier. Their branding is insanely strong. They're selling a stainless steel watch with a quartz movement, which, if you guys aren't watch people, quartz is just the cheapest movement to make. That watch seriously is like, at any other store without the Cartier thing, that's $100 watch. They're selling it for like $5,000, $10,000. Or these other designer brands where the materials are garbage, but because of that brand, people, they're paying $1,000 for a polo shirt.
The perception that comes with it, right?
That's it. We make buying decisions because of our what we think.
The perception, the coolness, the hierarchy.
It's about how I was listening.
Who's wearing it? Who isn't wearing it? Like,
there's this girl that actually I matched with her on a dating app. We never met, but I saw her profile. She was on a podcast and she said something. I'm like, she's 100% right. She was saying, when she's buying something, and when people in general do this, you're not necessarily when you're like, hey, I want that product. Like, I want that car, or I want the shoes or something. What you really want and what you're expecting to get is the feeling once you have it. Not, oh, I want these shoes because they're freaking shoes. It's, how am I going to feel when I'm wearing those? So it's all mental.
How is everyone going to envision me?
100%.
Are you familiar with Gary Vee or not?
I do. I actually, it's funny. I don't follow any like influencers on my personal Instagram. I used to follow him, but I unfollowed him just because he posts so much. I'm like, I'm wasting my time watching all his content.
Yeah.
I got to be productive. I got to unfollow him, but I'm very familiar with him. Yes.
Yeah, what I'm getting at is like
I like his mindset.
There's a thing this guy wants to buy. He wants to get successful to buy a Lamborghini. And he's like, you don't want the Lamborghini. You want the image you think the Lamborghini's going to give you.
100%.
The perception that people are going to think if you've got a Lamborghini. It's got nothing to do with the car itself.
Totally. Yeah.
So yeah, we're getting off track, but I love this stuff. But it's like, it's not to say you can have a very good product, but you got to get in front of enough people.
Oh yeah.
So that was the lesson that you learned, was like, yeah, just because I got an amazing product, you need to market the crap out of it.
Yeah.
And you probably found that.
And margins in general. Again, just starting up because of my economies of scale aren't there yet. My margins aren't as good as they can be. But yeah, because if you don't have margins, it's going to be, your marketing is going to be more efficient because now you have to sell way more units because your margins are small. If you have huge margins, you don't have to sell as many units to make your money back with your marketing budget.
Gotcha.
So that's a big thing.
Did you know what your margins should be? Like, I mean, do you know where to start, or did you learn from someone else? So how do you even know what margins?
I mean, it's tough. I didn't really learn specifically like what I would say you want like a 50% margin. That'd be safe. To me and my passion for the product, I'm like, you know what? As long as there's enough margin where I'm like making money selling these, I can grow economies of scale. I can make adjustments to the bar. I can get my margins later. My focus is, I want to make this bar like as close to my original concept of what I want it to be. So yeah, business minded, you should really focus on your margins. But with me, my passion for the product is like, you know, I sweeten with monk fruit extract. I was one of the first people to actually use it many, many years ago, but it's stupid expensive to exclusively use monk fruit instead of other stuff. But again, to me, it's like, I want the Rolls Royce of bars. So yeah, if you're pure business minded and it's all about like your profit margins, yeah, skimp on certain things, make your margins. I'm just like too passionate about this bar where it's like,
but that's what people go wrong. Like, they start
you gotta have that happy meeting, I would say, because
people start skimping on everything, and then the quality is inferior.
But they can go to their brand strength.
Yeah,
they got their marketing dollars, so that's why again you see.
But then they're selling crap, and that's when you end up selling candy bars.
Well, and there's a trajectory curve going on. So if you have a really crappy product, it's super cheaply made, but your profit margins are sick, and you have a huge marketing budget now, and you can promote it, it's going to go up like this. You're going to go up real fast. But enough people are going to realize your product sucks, and it's not sustainable. Now, on the flip side, your product's way too good for what your price is. Your margins suck. You're barely going to grow, but you're going to keep all your customers. So you got to have that like middle ground where it's like, you got to have a good product, but you have at least somewhat margins to have a budget and get more exposure. But I would still, any day, I'd still rather have a sustainable product that people, that you're not going to lose customers, and they're going to tell people, and you're never going to drop. Like how many companies, like I remember this company, they're still around, I think, like Shreds. They blew up. They almost created the whole kind of like influencer category on Instagram back in like 2012.
I mean, Bang's been gone.
Bang, right? Well, Bang I think just lost like hundreds of millions of dollars from a lawsuit, but
they're bankrupt. They're gone.
Yeah,
they're done.
You know what's interesting about Bang? So the CEO and founder Jack Howick, he created his original company, supplement company, was called VPX, and they made Redline energy drink, which is like hard.
Yeah, I remember Redline.
So all his products and his main market, and this also comes with like marketing and know your customer. You have Redline, like all these like creatine and gasoline, all these stuff that like hardcore sports nutrition. Not healthy, but they're hardcore sports nutrition. Many, many years ago, he came out with a bar. It was called the Zero Impact Bar. And this was like 15 years ago. And it was a legit good meal replacement bar. Like the protein from it was whey isolate, which is good if you're not vegan. And it had like carbs from oats. It had fats from like pumpkin seeds and stuff. And it filled you up. And it didn't make it because none of his customers were about that. But I remember I ate it. I was like, this is what people need. So when I thought of that bar, I actually thought about Jack Howick, VPX, and the Zero Impact bar. That doesn't, actually, they brought it back, but they reformed it and it was more of a protein candy bar. But the original thing was, it didn't even taste that good, but it filled you up and the ingredients were wholesome. And I'm like, man. So yeah, you can have a good product, but if it's under the wrong branding,
that's interesting.
It's not going to work.
What's your thoughts on Prime?
Prime, the hydration drink. I drink Prime here and there because I love the taste. But here's the thing: it's artificially sweetened, and I think it might be artificially flavored. which some of these beverages companies are getting away with all this stuff, like to people that don't actually like read the ingredients. For example, Ghost energy drink, which again tastes delicious. It's artificial everything, but it says in bold letters, no artificial coloring. It's like, who gives a shit about the coloring? Oh, congratulations, no artificial coloring. Or The Rock has that Zoa energy drink. It either says naturally flavored or it says naturally sweetened, but the other one, whether it be the flavoring or the sweetener, is artificial. Like, hey, see, it's naturally flavored, but it's artificially sweetened. But yeah, Prime, I think it's just like, I like sweet. So it's like a super sweet version of Gatorade, and it's artificially, it's sweetened with sucralose. Yeah, actually I had a Red Prime. I don't drink it all the time. I actually had a Red Prime yesterday. But Logan Paul, he's got the investors, he's probably got like, I don't know how many tens of millions in investment, not even from his own pocket. I wonder if he's even using his own capital at all. But since he's so famous, all those investor groups, venture capital firms want to jump on it. So yeah, he's probably got like crazy money behind it, like 100 million behind it. Maybe not that much, but yeah, I walked into Smith's the other day, and as you walk in the whole entrance of the grocery store, it was this UFC octagon, and it was surrounded by stacks of Prime.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that all had to be given to Smith's. So they're giving away like million, if you look at how many Smiths there are, Kroger and Smiths, thousands of locations, they're probably giving away millions of bottles just to discount it.
That's interesting, honestly.
Oh, we'll give you another thing. So with discounting, so let's say, so my bar at Sprouts is $4 a bar. If you see it on sale, 2 for $6 deal, meaning it'd be $3 a bar, I have to pay that dollar difference and an extra 83 cents for the processing house to process the promotion. Did
they decide on the promotion and you cop the?
No, you would volunteer, be like, hey, I want to do this promotion with you.
But you cover the loss.
Yeah. So for example,
this is fascinating stuff.
So for example, I get from my distributor $2.25 a bar. So I brought in $2.25 in revenue. So not profit, but just revenue. Now I run this deal at Sprouts, 2 for $6. Well, I got to pay $1 to make up for that dollar difference because Sprouts isn't going to take a loss. They don't do that. No. You got to pay that dollar difference. And then 83 cents on top of that to pay the processing house to actually run the promotion. So to run that promotion, for somebody to save $1 a bar, it cost me $1.83. So I don't know the exact math off the top of my head, but basically $2.25 minus $1.83, now that's my revenue. But what it cost to make the bar was way more than that. So the object of doing that is to acquire customers. It's not to make a profit or have any margin. So again, it goes into the promotional budget. A lot of these companies have hundreds of thousands of dollars, even these like just seed funded nobody companies, or the bigger companies that have millions of dollars. They run these promotions all the time because they're just acquiring customers, and eventually they're growing their sales and they're growing. But in the short run, they're losing money on that. Like, so Prime, that whole promotion.
So it's having the money to lose.
They like literally gave away millions and millions of dollars just to acquire all those customers.
That's very interesting. Just finally, social media. How are you with social media? What are you doing? How's that working for you?
Another one. So I have 15,000 followers on my on the company Instagram. My engagement sucks. The algorithms and everything's killing me, but I don't post that much just because if you really want to like post really good content, obviously it takes time and resources. So I'm doing everything, but yeah, I'm kind of lacking. I don't post that often.
TikTok?
I just got on TikTok actually.
Just got on.
Yeah, and I didn't even make my own videos. I'm using all the videos that I have with Ryan Pineda that he did for me from Instagram. I'm just posting those on TikTok. I'm not doing any work. I'm just basically using those Instagram videos that we made, which I think are good. And that's my TikTok material until I run out of that.
Get on TikTok. Get a load of TikTok. TikTok could be a game changer for you. Done properly. TikTok is, I would honestly say TikTok is the main platform to blow a business on, for sure. And then Instagram, that secondary. Yeah, it's just interesting what you're doing.
You get a lot more organic views that way on TikTok, right?
You just have a better chance of something popping. I had a video pop, we got 5 million views, it got me 25,000 followers in 2 days.
Damn.
That's the power of TikTok.
Okay.
Instagram won't do that. Facebook won't do that.
Instagram, like
Instagram's getting harder.
Well, people, it's funny because like, Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook and Instagram or Meta, they're like, oh, let's focus on Reels because TikTok's hot. It's like, yeah, people like video, sure. TikTok's hot because people want their shit to be viewed. They want their followers to see their stuff. You're not sure. Like I have 15,000 followers on Instagram. 300 people see my posts.
Yeah, because they want you to pay for it.
Yeah, and I get it. It makes perfect sense. And we're using their free platform, so you can't really complain.
Yeah, no.
But if you are looking for a more efficient thing, yeah, that's why people are going to TikTok, though. It's like, because people
100%.
actually see what I post. Oh my God, what a concept.
100%.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to touch on before we finish up?
I think that's about it. I was happy to
That's
talk about
fascinating.
business and nutrition and
I learned
a lot of BS going on out there that people don't know about.
Very, very interesting. Just a little tip. Someone wants to get into a business similar to what you're doing. Any quick tips?
Don't do it.
Would you do it again?
I mean it.
Would you do it again if you knew what it took? I
would want to understand capitalization a lot more than I did. I figured a lot of stuff out. But as far as like, hey, where do these investors come from? At what level is a venture capital firm going to, come in, and how much are they going to do? At what level is an angel investor? What is an angel investor? Or what's a friend and family round? I had no idea about that. Definitely didn't learn in college. I heard of venture capital firms. I didn't understand kind of the whole environment. So yeah, if you know the industry, understand that like, yeah, for this, when I first got in, I didn't understand. It's like, yeah, if you want to have a shot in hell, you need to like raise money because otherwise, yeah, you're gonna be like struggling. But again, every industry is different. So my specific industry, yeah, I would say make sure it's a unique product that actually benefits people. So then hopefully it's easier to sell that way to retailers and just in general. But know your industry, and depending on the industry, you might need a certain capital structure, meaning how much money. Again, certain businesses might not take a whole lot of startup cash. And I would recommend trying those first, or if you're super passionate about something and you don't give a shit about how much money it's going to take, okay, do it.
Well, that's what I was going to say. And
but
passion
be ready to be miserable at times. Be ready to cry a little bit by yourself, But yeah, if it's your passion and if it's going to get you where you want to go in life, absolutely 100% do it. But yeah, I think my best advice, and I try to remind myself this every day, is hope for the best, but just expect the worst. So this way, when shit goes wrong or things are going bad, you're like, well, I thought it was going to be even worse. Not everything went wrong today.
I like that.
Like just little things like today, Amex won't link up my Amex line of credit with my Amex business checking account. And it's messing things up with payments. Little things, they just go wrong. Like it is what it is. But yeah, if it's your passion, it's going to get you to where you want to go in life. You have to 100% do it. Like you have to.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank
Pleasure,
you.
man.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.